Hello and welcome to Gettable, AFL.com.au's home of trade, draft, free agency and contract news. We're here thanks to Google. It's great to have Google on board in season 2025. I'm Riley Beveridge. This is Twomey. Cal, we've got a massive show coming up. We're going to be talking Tassie. We're going to be talking the draft. Who wants to be a number one pick is going to make its return, Cal. It's long awaited return to the show. But let's start with our cover story. And it touches on a talented Tiger.
That's right, young Tiger time. Seth Campbell to be the next Richmond youngster to sign on at Punt Road. Tassie's big trade manifesto revealed. You've got your hands on the document. We'll get to that in a second. Who wants to be a number one pick? All the contenders rated. And the free agents in focus as an informed saint eyes a new deal. But Riley, you've got your hands on the trade Tassie manifesto.
Yes,
what can you show us?
The Devil's dossier, Cal. This is what Tasmania is taking around to every player agency in the country. They are presenting this to players at the moment because this is their moving manifesto.
Let's see inside it.
This is what they're hoping to get to clubs. And it starts off with a letter from the CEO. And it starts, and I think a first sentence really tells the story of what this document is all about. It says, when you make the decision to join an AFL club, you're not just signing a contract, you're investing in your future. And this is all about how players can invest in their future when they go to Tasmania, should they make the move to Tasmania. It's got a testimonial from Clint Steindl in there, who won an NBL championship with the Jack Jumpers last year, talking about how he's moved his entire family to Tasmania now. It goes into everything, Cal. There's a full spread on the stadium design, which we're about to see here as well. It talks about how there's going to be a new high-performance centre that's planned for Kingston. They want to turn Kingston into a major sporting precinct in Tasmania. It'll house the Jack Jumpers, cricket, soccer, gymnastics, athletics, netball, heaps more. But this goes into the indoor playing field, the gymnasium, the medical and rehab centre that's all going to be at Tasmania. Then it goes into some of the lifestyle stuff. It's got a full spread on golf, Cal. There's 28 golf courses within 50 kilometres of Hobart. They are keen to sell that aspect of Tasmania to players who could potentially be going to that football club. It's got info on Mona, the breweries, wine regions, beaches, fishing ports, all of the golf courses you need. And then
real estate.
Real estate. This is how forensic a look into this process is. It's got QR codes for properties that you can buy in the region if you are to go to Tasmania and play your football there.
So Riley Sanders is like this.
Yes, he's looking at it and thinking, where can I live? It's the extent it goes to. There's a whole bunch of schools in the area, links to further education programs, outside earning opportunities.
So just to be clear, this has gone to player agents.
This has gone to player agents. I'm led to believe that members of the Tassie Football Department have gone to player agents over the last month or so with this document in hand, showing them, saying, give this to your players, here's a whole bunch of copies, here's what you can do. I think it's a real eye-opener, and it goes to show how invested they are in this space at the moment and in trying to get players to their football club going forward.
All right, let's look at some of the names that they will be looking at and have been looking at, of course, to begin their journey. And there are a lot of Tassie targets. Riley Sanders, for me, has to be the number one target now.
I think it's a live option as well.
Yeah, I think he's a player who will be thinking about it more than probably some others. He's obviously signed until the end of 2026. He could add on another year, maybe even add on 2 more years at the Bulldogs. But I think, yeah, he's right in the frame of mind that he'll consider this option for Tasmania. Colby McKercher signed through for another couple of years. That's a massive deal. About $1.6, $1.7 million to do those extra couple of years. So significant to stay at North Melbourne, but worth it in terms of being a young player who does have the appeal to come back. James Leake, we know, the Tassie link there, hasn't really got going at the Giants yet, but we'll have some suitors around the competition as well as the Devils. And then we look at the 2027 free agents, Green, Sarong, Will Day, the Tasmanian players, of course, in Alex Pearce, Chase Jones, and Seth Campbell as well, who you mentioned off the top. Signed until the end of this year. You've reported has hit a trigger for next year, but has been in discussions on a longer-term deal. I think that longer-term deal could actually take him through to the end of 2029. So that could take him past the 2 Tassie years as it stands. So good news coming for the Tigers on that front, a longer-term extension coming for Seth Campbell.
And it's massive because, as you mentioned, Colby McKercher and Lockie Cowan at Carlton as well signed this week through until 2028. We know they're coming in 2027, but we think they're going to get those list concessions for the first 2 years of their entry in the competition, which will mean at the end of 2028, both Colby McKercher and Lockie Cowan can make an assessment on their first year. So Carlton and North Melbourne aren't out of the woods yet just because they've got those 2 deals done.
So the rules will go to the AFL Commission in August and they'll get the final tick there. Mini draft is looking like a bit of a boon as well for Tasmania out of that process. So big news coming on the Tassie front. Obviously, it's all conditional until they get that stadium ticked off and all those things, but the AFL is going full steam ahead, as are the Devils.
That is the Devil's dossier, the moving manifesto. It's got its way into our hands from player agencies around the country as well. All right, Cal, let's get to right here, right now.
Right here, right now.
That's right, Fat Boy Slim. We haven't done this one in a while, but I want to start with right here, right now. There's a free agent who is seriously contemplating his future, who is going under the radar. So Brandon Starcevic's contract call is an intriguing one for me, one of the more intriguing in the competition. Brisbane had short and longer term offers in front of him for months, and they continue to do that, and they want to keep him. But Starcevic is going through the process, meeting clubs and thinking hard about what it would mean to leave Brisbane. So, like I've said before, playing up the ground in midfield roles is part of the appeal, and where the club can sort of suit that sort of role. So Essendon, we know, are in that race. North Melbourne has had a look as well. They've been keen on Braden Maynard, Wayne Miller, that half-back role, but I don't think they end up sort of going down that route as much with Starcevic. So he's got a big call to make, and I don't think many people are talking about it, but it's happening at the moment. So he's thinking about that very strongly.
Hit us with another one.
Right here, right now, there's another free agent who is absolutely torn. Natalie Imbruglia would be all over Sam Draper because he's torn. Sam Draper has always been keener on staying at Essendon than going if the deal is right. That's been my inclination of where this one sits. But Essendon has 4 years on the table, has recently made improvements to that deal, but it'll stay at 4 years. He has Adelaide and Brisbane right there keen on him. The lure of Adelaide is ripe, as well as Brisbane's lifestyle and success. I think the off-field status of a non-football state probably doesn't appeal as much to Draper like it does some of the other Brisbane recruits. He's a big name in Melbourne. He'd be a bigger name in Adelaide. So right here, right now, his decision is a huge one on the ruck merry-go-round because it's having implications all over the place. What Brisbane's chasing, what Adelaide's doing with Riley O'Brien, what Essendon's doing with its 5 out-of-contract players as well. So big call to come from Sam Draper. From an Essendon point of view, I think they're more than comfortable to keep him. But also, if the pick goes out, if this extra deal comes in that pushes that money up from a compensation point of view, well, that's the way it goes.
Do you think if another club came for him now, he'd say, "You're a little late"? All right here, right now, Cal. If I was to tell you that
I saw your lip quivering.
If I was to tell you, Cal, that statistically speaking, the best player in the AFL over the last month was out of contract and still hadn't been offered a new deal,
I'd say Nazire Wanganeen-Milera. It has to be.
Max Hall over the last 4 weeks of football rates higher than Luke Jackson, Sam Darcy, Caleb Serong and Marcus Bontempelli. He's the highest rated player in the competition.
Are you saying you didn't know that? Are you saying you didn't predict that at the start
I did not predict that at the start of the season. It's remarkable given St Kilda have lost all 4 of those games as well. Highest rated player in the competition, still out of contract beyond 2025, still yet to be offered a new deal by St Kilda. Don't think there's any worries there though. I think he will get a new deal. I think it'll be a multi-year deal at St Kilda when talks do eventually commence with Max Hall. It is a remarkable statistic though that he is the highest rated player in the competition given his backstory, late draftee, mid-season, midway through last year.
Hall and votes. All right here, right now. The AFL and AFLPA have to come together to tick off player option deals being a part of the CBA. So, as we revealed earlier this year, Zach Butters and Miles Bergman, among others, were presented these mega offers that included short-term deals with the option of many years beyond that. So, for Butters, it was 2 and 6. For Bergman, 2 and 7. Bergman, as we know, and revealed last week, signed his 2-year deal. So, there's an understanding there that if he wants to add that 7-year deal at any stage, he can, like any other extension, but it's there. So it's good business from all parties, I think. But right here, right now, there needs to be more flexible options added to the AFL contracting space. And I know you're big on this as well, but my understanding is the PA has sort of been the pushback on this one in previous years under that CBA. We've got a new CBA coming in 2 years. I think open up the gates so these things are absolutely allowed and permitted, and as part of the deal, there's always going to be understandings around what can be the next deal. That's fine. That's no dramas at all. But even in the Cosy Pickett discussions, there was discussions around an exit clause. That's not actually available under the rules as is, but I think it should be in the future, and I think it's time to open up the gates on player options and different type of deals for players because we're getting into a new contracting world.
Completely agree. It needs to be found a way for those sort of clauses to be legally binding, I think, as well.
All right, right now, right here. That's the segment, isn't it? The top 10 picks from 2023. If you're unsigned from the top 10 picks of 2023, we're watching you. We already have been. I don't know if you know Harley Reid hasn't signed on beyond next year. That'll be a big one on the Reddit thread, I think. Now Harley has the clubs there. Jed Walter. Well, there'll be more talk about him very soon as well.
Yeah, I think so.
Because nothing really has moved on that. They have 2 key forwards out of contract next year in him and Ben King, the free agent. Zane Dursby, in and out of the side. Will another club come looking for him as well? Nick Watson. Well, as we spoke about a few weeks ago, talks are up and going on a contract offer there. Been offered a couple more years, 2 more years as part of that. I think there's still a little way to go on that one. Sanders, as we mentioned. So five of the top 10 are done, 5 of the top 10 haven't. And then there's Connor O'Sullivan at pick 11 who hasn't done either, an extension. So all focus. If we haven't, forget Harley, forget him. No, we're going to forget him. We're not talking about him. We're not talking about him. We're not allowed to talk about him. He's only being offered the biggest deals in football history, but we won't talk about him.
We can't talk about it.
And the rest of these guys, well, we're looking at these guys too. So right here, right now, my eyes are on them.
We certainly are. All right, plenty more still to come on Gettable, and gee, aren't we excited for it? All right, welcome back to Gettable. We are extremely excited for what's to come next. It is Who Wants to Be a #1 pick?
There it is. You still love hot seats, still do. Still miss hot seat.
Let's go through them, Cal. We've got some names on this board, and we're going to go through each and every one of them to discuss who wants to be the #1 pick in this year's draft. Let's start with Cooper Duff-Tyler.
Well, there hasn't been a #1 draft pick who's been a ruckman since Matthew Cruiser in 2007. So he could well be the first since then. Really good on the weekend for Vic Metro, 15 disposals and 18 hitouts against Western Australia. This is some of his form as well, playing against South Australia a few weeks ago. On the weekend, curiously though, only played 57% of game time, which was the lowest of any player in that game. So I don't know what happened there, but we need to see more of him. No more of him running to the bench, more of him actually running around on the ground. He's following the Luke Jackson and Riley Thilthorpe school of key forwards and ruckmen. We see some of his ball movement at ground level and ground use. He's unbelievable at that level. So I think he put his name on the map as a potential #1 pick at the end of last year, playing some great footy for the Calder Cannons. Impressed when he was at Essendon early this year. He's right in the frame to be the #1 pick. There's absolutely no doubt about that.
He had a moment for AFL Academy where he's roved the ball at ground level after a big mark contest, and it just went to show how good he is below his knees. That's his one wood, isn't it?
Yeah, haven't locked him in. Not my final answer.
You got 50-50 yet?
I haven't rolled that one out.
Dyson Sharp, he's going to be the Lark medalist, you'd have to think. Such a great campaign for the South Australian side.
Yeah, the best player in the country over the past 6 weeks. Sharp dominated the lead-up trial games ahead of the under-18 champs, and then was clearly the standout, most consistent member of South Australia's side at the Carnival, skippering them to the title. As you say, will win the Lark medal. I'd be shocked if it went any other way. His size gives him a point of difference. 187 centimetres. He's a bit of a midfield warhorse, really. He drags teams on his back and just goes into battle every single week, where other players can maybe pick and choose. He doesn't. So he gives clubs a real look at what he will be. I think there's less doubt around what he could be. I think you know what you're getting with Dyson Sharp. Can he be that Ollie Wines type of midfielder? Some clubs wouldn't have him in that top #1 conversation. Other clubs do. So he's in that group. Zeke Ewan, Zeke the Freak. Zeke the Freak, we haven't seen much this year, which shows...
It's a bit of a shame.
Which shows how good his season was last year. So hoping to be back on the field later this season after dealing with that ongoing back injury, but shows the quality of his form last year, but also maybe what this year's draft is putting up too, that he's still very much in the #1 contention. This guy can be Gold Coast Errol Goulden, a whip-smart left footer, creates the game from the wing and midfield, even half-back he could play there. Was named an All-Australian last year as a 17-year-old, played some good VFL footy as well for the Suns. If he played a full year this year, I think he would have probably been the #1 because I just can't see him playing a bad game ever, really. So Zeke could well be in that bidding range for 1, 2 or 3 still, even despite not playing much footy if he does come back for a few weeks.
Speaking of guys that don't play bad games, Dan Annable, he's been great all year for the Allies and for the Brisbane Lions Academy.
Yeah, the Annable Lecter, and he's made him pay, hasn't he? He's been fantastic. A brute ball winner with slick hands, really smart with his decisions. Ready to go, attitude and frame. Going to find it hard to break into Brisbane's midfield, isn't he, down the track? But I still think he attracts a bid inside the top 4. Has averaged 25 disposals for the Allies at the Carnival, nearly 30 touches for Brisbane at the Coates Talent League level as well. So held his own for the AFL Academy, playing in this game. Probably the best out-and-out inside midfielder in the group. So there's a few of different sorts and shapes and sizes. So they're all in that mix. As I say, I don't think there's anything locked in. Here is it, the #1 pick. Who wants to be a #1 pick? There it is again.
This man might be my #1 pick at the moment, Dylan Patterson. He has been absolutely outstanding for the Allies in this Championships campaign and for the Gold Coast Suns Academy right the way throughout the year. He is so exciting when he gets the ball in his hands.
Yeah, like this moment. I mean, how good was this? He's just able to burst away and no one can catch him. He's the Rocket. That's why we call him the Rocket. Rocket Patterson has something truly unique in this year's group, doesn't he, with his speed. So he's the most fun player in the draft to watch, isn't he? The way he just gets the ball and goes like this, gets the rocket turbos on. he has some rugby tendencies. He actually knocked back a stack of NRL clubs who wanted to sign him as a rookie. Mm-hmm. So he's been a footballer all the way through. They tried to convert him to NRL. He said, no, I want to go to footy and stay with footy. So, I think what we're seeing from Dill Patterson, I don't think a bid comes through him at number 1. I think it's probably in that sort of 2, 3, 4, 5 range in the end, but he's going to be very much in that conversation at the very top end of the pool because, as I say, he's different to what the rest of the group is.
Speaking of someone that has a different weapon, Josh Lindsay and his kicking ability has been fantastic throughout the season.
Yeah, he's got the weapon that everyone wants, that left foot kick. We've seen it for Vic Country, we've seen it for the Geelong Falcons this year. Wasn't in the thick of the action as much over the weekend for Vic Country, but continues with that beautiful left kick to just, with his eyes as well, can be able to pick off the targets and then hit them, and that's part of the trick. It's one thing having the kick, it's the other one actually seeing where to go. So there's a little bit of Hayden Young at the same stage of his career, under 18 level, averaged 26 disposals for the Falcons. I think he's probably at the back end of this group, to be honest, of the number 1 contenders, but certainly clubs have him in that sort of 6 to 8 range of the draft, and he's production level across this year has been really consistent. So again, you know what you're getting. If you're going for the number 1 pick, you talk about the number 1 picks. In the end, most of the guys that go number 1 across many, many years are the guys that you know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
So that's where he certainly ticks that box.
And Willem Dersma, the fourth of the Dersma siblings to come through the AFL Pathway program, started across half back on the weekend for Vic Country.
I'll tell you a player who he reminds me of. It's Brendan Goddard. I think that speaking of another number 1 pick from all those years ago, 20 plus years ago, Brendan Goddard is the type of player that I think Willem Dersma can be. Mr. Fix-It is not quite the right way to say it, but he can play in a whole range of different spots and has done it. He can go overhead. We know BJ could go overhead as well. What a great player he was, Brendan Goddard. So I think that's the play that he should be looking at to play like. Yeah. And I think the way that he started his carnival well against WA, played through the midfield, he's gone to half back and go forward as well. His scope and high-end work is nearly as good as anyone in the group. So that's what clubs need to work out as well. Where do you see him and what do you think is going to be the future for him? So that's my group at the moment.
7 names?
There's 7. There's 3 other names that I think we're not too far away from this group as well. Aidan Schubert, who's played a great championships. I think he's been really good. Ollie Greaves is probably in that next bracket as well. So there's another couple who I think will be around there. And also Mitch Marsh, whose form throughout the carnival has definitely been worthy of top 10 to 12 contention, but haven't actually locked it in.
You've only got a couple of weeks left until you have to do that.
It's not no, that's not true because it's not fastest finger first here. I get a lot of time to work out who this is going to be, but the Fandom Form Guide rankings are out 2 weeks today, I think is right. Yep. So I'll be phoning a friend maybe and finding out who should be in that top group.
I think you'll be phoning a few friends between now and then, Cal. All right, we mentioned on the weekend the Under-18s Championships did continue. Oh, there one more time. One more time for the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire soundtrack there. Allies and Vic Country played off at Icon Park on Saturday. We were both there. 12-point win for Vic Country. They had some really good performances. Harry Dean, the Carlton father's son, was good across half-back.
Thought he was, 15 disposals and just mopped up everything. I mean, he's exciting talent for Carlton to have on the radar. There's no doubt about that. And he's different to what they've got from a key defensive group coming through as well. Like, they picked up Harry O'Farrell last year, who can play a bit at both ends. But I think that Harry Dean's form as a key back, competitive, quick, classy with the ball, knows what he's doing. Speaking of the Blues, here's Cody Walker's form.
How was he on the weekend? He was great.
Yeah, 24 touches, was his best game at the Carnival so far, can link up in and out of traffic. He's very smart with the ball, goes overhead, can go forward as well. There's the leap. I mean, his dad had the leap as well, didn't he? So that's definitely a big part of his game. We'll have Richmond trying. Richmond will try and get into this market, but obviously I think the Blues are the favourites for him. And then there's Riley Onley as well, who I think played his best game of the Carnival term. One of the best games I've seen from this year. 28 disposals, 7 clearances, bigger bodied midfielder, and can do things like that. So that's Riley Onley for the Vic Country boys. They were pretty good across that game, won by a couple of goals.
Yeah.
If we go to the Allies vision now, because there were still a couple of highlights out of that. Lockie Carmichael's a member of Sydney's Academy.
Had a good carnival, hasn't he?
33 disposals, kicked a goal. He'll be an All-Australian. I'll be shocked if he isn't. Kicked that big one late in the game as the Allies are making their charge. Played a very good championship and knocks up fine in the footy most weeks. So a pretty good player for the Swans to consider. Probably in that 20 to 30 mark, I would say. And the other one I want to talk about is Avery Thomas. So Avery Thomas is going very, very well. I'm doing my top 20 in a couple of weeks. I don't think he'd be far off being in there. So a half-back, aerobically really good, powerful in the air, stops opponents, can rebound. 11 touches and 6 marks over the weekend. Wasn't probably even his best game of the carnival, but certainly someone to look for in the top 20.
And he's going to be an interesting prospect for clubs to consider, given he is Tasmanian. And when he comes to that side, if he is outside the top 20, you'll have that contract through to 2027. So that's going to be an interesting one for clubs. And then on Sunday, Vic Metro went over to WA and got the points. 35-point win there with Bombers Next Generation Academy prospect Hussein Al-Ashkar among the best.
He was everywhere, Huss, the hustler. I'm hustling for Huss. 2 goals, 3, 15 disposals. A lot of score involvements as well. So he does know where the goals are. He can be a bit inaccurate sometimes, but geez, he loads up on shots. He's hungry for a kick at goal. There's no doubt about that. But I like that out of a small forward. He knows where they are, and that was a good one as well. Snuck out of traffic and got through there. So I think Huss probably gets a bid around that sort of 20 to 30 range. Speaking of bids, Zach McCarthy played really well. So he's a member of Collingwood's Next Generation Academy. He was good. He kicked 3 goals. Was the best key forward on the ground, and certainly at his height at 200 centimetres, I think he's going to be an appealing player for the Pies to have to match it. Might be a bit of an issue in terms of how they do match that, but I think it's somewhere around that sort of 15 to 25 range at this point. And then there's Lockie Doverston, our man from a few weeks ago. I thought this was the best game he's played in a little while as well.
Yep.
Was really creative. To kick 2 goals, 3, 18 disposals. That was a threat throughout this one. So he was good, and alongside Al-Ashkar, McCarthy, Doverston really was the difference in that forward group. We see the dash that he can provide and the spark that he showed, and that was a good goal by Ollie Greaves. And Louis Emmett as well.
Yeah.
First game for Vic Metro, has battled hip injury earlier in the year, but in his return over the past few weeks has reminded people of his competitive streak, 2, his versatility, 199 centimetre ruckman who can play a little bit of midfield, bit of forward stuff as well. 16 disposals, kicked a goal, had 11 hit outs. I thought that he was really good, and probably reminded clubs that he could be a top 20 or so selection come the end of the year.
All right, so that's a full look at the draft. Anything else catch your eye on the weekend, Cal? Because a few things caught my eye.
Well, I watched on Saturday night. I just thought, I felt like a proud father. I just thought, what sort of monster have I created in one shot? So 2023 was the Wizard Hats. 2024 was the Flying Viking. Of course, this was the first. Look at that.
Sitting next to each other.
I was quite chuffed at how that's taken off so quickly, and it's all down to Alex Taru. And this is the shot as well. This is a rare shot. This is a rare shot of a Viking and a Wizard in the one frame. This was taken by Shaz Taru, so credit to Mother Viking for this photo. But it's rare you get those two sort of icons in the same shot. So I was very happy with the first Wizard v Viking Cup and looking forward to it more. I think, can I just be clear though, like, I'm sending an invoice to Spotlight because all these hats have come from Spotlight, because I know, because I bought them myself. I think I've done good business for them. I don't know, I might take the nicknames off for a year. It's hard to back up.
We've already got so many though. Hustler, the Sizzler, Hannibal Lecter.
Hard to
Zeke
back
the
up
Freak.
For the Flying Viking. How well is he going?
That was a great contest on Saturday night. How was Alex Taru's mark as well? He's going to be some player in the years to come. All right, plenty more still to come on Gettable and on afl.com.au. Don't forget to keep clicking back. Inside Trading will drop on Wednesday night, and then we'll be back here in the studio, same time, same place next week.